Welcome to the podcast this morning. My guest is Mike Amsbaugh, Crawford County Veterans Services Office, more than one, plural, Services Office. And welcome back. You're here quite often. We used to do shows together, and then now we're doing a couple podcasts together. So
we used to do shows together, and then COVID.
And then it was called reincarnated things there. So we'll just kind of leave that on my part. But anyhow, he's with the Crawford County Veterans Services Office. And by the way, for those that ask, well, I didn't know we had one, because I know people always say, well, where are you at? You're up at the Crawford County Courthouse, which is 112 East Mansfield Street, Bucyrus.
Right, yes.
You're at the lower level, and you're in suite, I believe, 95?
That's correct. So when you walk in, the courthouse is divided between the court side and the
Right.
administration side.
Right.
We're in the administration side, and it's the lower level, and literally you get off the elevator, you hang a left, and we're the last office on the left.
You basically want to enter from the side that's down off Walnut Street and come in this, because that's all handicap accessible too.
Correct.
So that's wonderful. Glad to know that. You guys, I think you have office hours, I know, up there 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. But I would always encourage anybody who wants to see you or talk to your people there, they need to really make an appointment, because I would say, I always say walk-ins are welcome, but appointments are preferred, because everybody's issues, you may think to you it's only a 5-minute issue. It could be an hour issue.
Yeah, and usually when we schedule somebody, we schedule an hour.
Yes.
So, if I have somebody in the office with me, or one of the other service officers has somebody in the office with them, they've set aside an hour to work with that individual. Now, if it takes a little bit longer, there's a buffer time period,
Right.
so that it could take longer. But I don't want people to walk in and then find out they've got to wait.
Yes.
It's better just to give us a call.
Yeah. This is why I'm saying the preferred and the best way to do it, because first of all, let's say if I want to come in, there's paperwork and things I might want to bring that you want them to bring, because that speeds the process up, because you need to know these things before you actually engage them. But the reason I brought this up right out of the box, so to speak, was because I think sometimes people are a little disorganized, and we don't sometimes always understand what you really need to bring, and they'll say, oh, I forgot to bring this. Well, this is holding up the process of you maybe getting your eligibility.
It could, yes.
Yeah.
There's some things that we could do. So let's say that you've just walked in and you want to file a claim for service-connected compensation. Well, what we could do is we could file an intent to file, which is a placeholder. It's not a claim unto itself.
Okay.
No benefit will be paid because of it, but it establishes an effective date. And by doing that, I can say, well, we've established an effective date. We've told the VA that you're going to file a formal claim. We've established the effective date. That's going to be held. That gives you some time to get your 214 or your marriage certificate, or medical records from private doctors or hospitals, or a statement from somebody that you served with, or a statement from your spouse. It gives you time to get those documents together so we can continue to file the formal, fully developed claim.
Okay.
That's the one that's going to get you a benefit. This intent to file just is kind of like, I tell people, it's kind of like putting your finger down on the calendar and saying mine. It's the way, it's how you establish an effective date without filing a formal claim. And it gives you that amount of time to get stuff together. So there is, that only works with compensation or pension. It's a way to do that and give yourself some time if you didn't have everything. But for other things, there isn't a way to do that. So
you really want to try to establish this and get it up, because a lot of things it's set by, okay, but what was the date? And you can say, like you said, this was the date, and they've already been in.
Right.
That already moves you up, so to speak. That's the way I would say it, this process. A little, probably depending on what it is.
So the effective date, the way the VA does that, effective dates are the first day of the month following the month in which the claim is received.
Okay, so if I go in October, then November is actually that date.
So if you come into my office today and say, I want to establish an informal claim, file an intent to file, it's like I said, it's kind of like putting your finger down on the calendar and saying mine. But it's not today's date. The effective date of that claim, so any back pay that would be due, would be October 1st, not September 12th.
I got you.
So but it does hold that date, and we can hold the VA to that. And that gives you some time then to gather evidence, gather documents, get additional medical records, whatever it is that's missing.
Get your ducks in a row.
It gives you that time. It doesn't work, let's say, if you wanted to file a claim for VA medical care. It doesn't work for that.
Right.
But it does work for compensation and pension, which are the two big monetary benefits for veterans.
Well, let's just start in. I know we've talked about this, or just in general, and I mean sort of a bullet point thing. What do you folks, if I go to your office, what types of things are you covering up there? And then we'll talk further.
So the state of Ohio, in state law, says that each county will have an office like ours.
Okay.
It says that we will administer a emergency financial assistance program. We will provide transportation from our county to the nearest VA medical centers for the veterans here. That we will handle things like indigent burial, making sure that there's flag holders and flags. And now that part is the headstones and markers and flag holders. That's all part of it's the way it's set up is it's the county's responsibility, not my office's responsibility. Right. But my office administers the program.
Okay.
So it's the responsibility. The state law says that it's the responsibility of the county to make sure that veterans' graves are appropriately marked and recognized. But most counties, well, it's the county's responsibility. Usually the county defers to the Veterans Service Office to administer that. So it's not, at least in our county, it's not the county commissioners who are the executive directors of the county, so to speak. They're not doing that, even though state law says it's theirs to do. My office is doing it because that's what we do. We handle veterans benefits, veterans.
Well, now see, you're bringing into a lot of different things. But I got to thinking about, you and I were talking a little bit off air here before we went on. But a lot of people, I guess one of the biggest thing on the VA is about, it's sort of I won't say a conundrum, but most people are a little bit somewhat confused as to how actually the VA medical works. And like, for example, you gave me an example. Like somebody says, well, how do they handle if I have an emergency medical thing? So maybe we should address that today a little bit.
Yeah, so VA medical, like I said, what we just talked about, these are the things that state law says that the County Veterans Service Office is responsible for. So typically, if you're a veteran, you sign up for VA medical care, you're going to be using like the Mansfield Outpatient Clinic, or you're going to be using Wade Park VA Medical Center in Cleveland, or the Columbus VA Outpatient Clinic in Columbus, or the Dayton Cincinnati VA Medical Centers. You're going to be using those sort of facilities, and they're going to provide you with almost all of the care. I mean, dental is a restricted thing. You have to either have a dental injury or be rated at 100% service connected to receive dental care through the VA. If it's an injury, obviously the law says that the VA will provide care and services for any service-connected disability. So if you have a dental injury, the VA would do that. If you're not service-connected or you don't have a dental injury and you're not rated at 100%, the VA would not provide the dental care. But, eyeglasses, hearing aids, general care, prescriptions, all of those things the VA does. Now, the VA has something called community care. That allows a veteran to receive care. Now, it has to be authorized by the VA, so you can't just go down to your local chiropractor and say, I need to be seen. Yeah, go ahead and bill the VA, because the VA is not insurance.
No.
The VA is a medical system. So they say, we'll provide you with these goods and these services. And again, there's very few limitations or exceptions. It's a pretty exhaustive list. We'll provide you with these things, but it has to be through our facility.
Well, and the bottom line here is, it is a system. And what happens is, if you get out of the system, you're messed up. You have to do everything through the VA system,
That's
correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Now, for an emergency, let's say it's Saturday and you're out mowing the yard and you slip on a wet patch and you land on your back and you hurt your back. Well, you can go to like an urgent care and receive care there, or you could go to the emergency room and receive care there, but you have to notify the VA of said care outside of the system within 72 hours in order for them to consider payment of that outside care.
So you got a 72-hour window from the time of this emergency thing in order to let it be known to you officially.
You have to let the VA know of
Yes.
it. Now, and there's some nuances as
to
far
this.
as,
Yes.
hey, I'm service connected. Hey, I'm not service connected. Hey, I injured, let's say I'm service connected for a lower back injury and I slip and fall mowing the yard and I hurt my back. Well, that's going to be handled differently than a veteran who has no service connection. They did their time in the military. They were not injured. They don't have any service-connected disabilities, and the same thing happens to them.
What?
So it's handled differently, but it is possible to have the VA, if you follow the rules, it is possible to have the VA pay for that urgent care visit.
If it is handled through the system in the system's way.
Right, the system's way.
This is the point why I wanted to make a big deal about this today, is because you're here to help our veterans.
Right.
And the best way that's possible is the more information that you can give you and your associates there that are with you, the more likely those benefits can come to you if you follow it through the system. Because I can say, well, I don't understand what they can do. It doesn't matter. It's got to go through their system. It's the VA system.
Yeah, and that's medical, or let's say you're filing a claim for compensation, or you're a surviving spouse and you're filing a claim for dependency indemnity compensation or survivor's pension, which are two different things. It has to, the VA, no one's ever accused the VA of being expedient at anything. It probably never will. But if you follow the rules,
there you go.
And and here's the thing: the only way to play a game is to know the rules, and that's kind of what these offices, my office and every county's office, it's kind of what their job is, to know the rules of the game. So that when you come in and say, hey, Mike, I really want to file a claim for something. Okay, well, I know what the rules of that game are. And, this is how we're going to approach it.
Yep.
So that, you could file a claim and not know the rules, but it's going to take an awful long time to maybe get a benefit.
Well, knowledge is king.
Right. If you know the rules, you know how to play the game. And, we might be able to shave some time off of how long it is going to take the VA to get that benefit.
And you're on the inside, not on the outside like I am. So I would say it would behoove people to listen to what you're saying. I'm just trying to help the public to understand this.
Right.
The VA is a system.
Right.
They have their own rules, regulations, and system.
Right.
And if they say you need form X, Y, Z, G, P, you got to have every one of those 5 forms in the way they want it.
Yeah.
Now, you can walk people through this process and you can say you need them. But trying to buck a system will get you nowhere.
No. And so there's a common misconception that, like, I'll use disability benefits. So, Social Security is notorious. If they deny me the first time, I'm gonna appeal. I'm gonna refile. I'm just gonna keep at it until Social Security relents and says yes to whatever it is that I'm asking. That may work for Social Security. With the Department of Veterans Affairs, that won't work. So again, it's a matter of knowing the rules so that you can effectively play the game.
Well, and I think that's today where we want to leave our people today with this idea of what you're saying is if you You're the knowledge source here.
Right.
And your office is. So that's why I want to, when I'm always on here with you, I always encourage people, call, set up these appointments.
Right. And, really, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter if the VA is going to pay somebody a monthly monetary benefit because of a disability. It doesn't matter what they pay them. If that veteran is utilizing the VA medical system, they will receive a benefit from just the medical care. If you figure the value of the medical care that you can receive, it's greater than any dollar figure that the VA would pay.
Oh, yes. I can see that.
I encourage veterans to, even if they say, well, I've got pretty good insurance, or, well, I didn't serve during wartime, or, I was never injured. It doesn't matter. At least enroll in the system. To maintain that enrollment, all you have to do is be seen once a year. So once every 12 months, schedule an appointment like a primary care visit. Just see the primary care doctor, have them kind of go over some things. That keeps you enrolled. You may have a copayment, but, it's really to your benefit. If something were to happen and you suddenly need
and you're already in the system.
You suddenly need health care because your employer decided, oh, it's too expensive. We don't need to provide health care to our employees. Or, you retire or something catastrophic happens. You're already enrolled. You don't have to take the time to, you don't have to waste time applying and then waiting and then seeing primary care and doing all those things to maybe get to the benefit that you need. You're already there.
It's called being proactive, and that's what we're doing.
And that's really, it's as a veteran, it's to your benefit to do.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, like, if there's anything certain, it's uncertainty. So, and eligibility and so many things change. But as we wrap this morning, Mike, again, my guest has been Mike Amsbaugh from the Crawford County Veteran Services Office. If you got questions for Mike, those folks are up there to help you.
Yeah, if someone has a question, the only bad question is the one that isn't asked. So I encourage people, if they have a question or they've seen something on the news, or they heard one of their friends told them something, or they overheard something at a gathering, and they have a question about it, please feel free to call. Okay,
and again, the phone number to call is 419-562-7761, and that would be preferred because to make an appointment.
Yes.
Because there are so many things. Like I said, you might need 4 or 5 pieces of document, and you can cut the time by getting. And when you talk to the folks at the Crawford County Veterans Services Office, you guys will say you're going to need this, this, and this, and this. That way, it saves another trip.
So. And, like I said, if somebody just came in, and said, hey, I'm really interested in filing a claim. I did this in the military. I have this problem now. If we're able to, great. You came in, we'll help you if we can.
All right. That's great news to know. And your website, I know, is CrawfordCountyVeteransOhio.com, correct?
Correct, yes.
And then if they email, was that the CC? VSO at Crawford-co.org.
Yes, that's it.
All right. See, sometimes we got to get through the weeds just to get these things out. But I know people, they contact you in different ways. But my encouragement to anyone is if in doubt, find out.
Yep, that's correct.
Give you folks a call at 419-562-7761. Thanks, Mike, for being a guest on the program today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.